So now I'm going to have this module 3. So basically module 3 is to, based on module 2 I have all the data. Module 3 is to, from the list of the items that was found, like in this case the model price, for example. So we found 3 items. So we're going to select the items that we want to have and push that into the target list. Alright, so let's recap. So we have 2 collections. The first one is going to define which site we're going to go and what product we're going to search for, defined by the search string. So it is going to return, in the case of model price, it's going to return 3 items. And then we're going to need another list, which is new. We never talked about that before, is that we need to have a list of target products, or the products to trace. Like in this case, from this model price, out of the 3 items found, we want to trace the first one and the third one. So these ones are defined by 2 things here. One is the site, the other is the product ID. So these are all the things that we've obtained by module 1 and module 2. So now in module 3, what we're going to do is that we're going to do the following. The first is that we're going to remember the site. We're going to know the trace products, which are a list of this trace products, right? And we're going to need the data, which is the data returned from module 2. And finally, we will need to have the trace result list. So the trace result is really the final list that we want to have. Alright, so the first thing is that we will need to, from the data, we will need to split that into different arrays, because the data is actually in the form, like it has a name, then it has a collection of name, then it has a links, and it have a collection of link. It's like that. So this part is to split that into different collections, like all the products go to one collection, or the link go to the other collection. And these collections are corresponding to each other by the index number. So we're going to split that. All right. So the next is that, by the way, so because this module is going to be used within another, so I try my best to use the different iteration numbers. So here I'm going to use II, and that loop is down. So I'm gonna do use the II again, and inside I'm gonna use J, whatever. So the idea is just that I want to differentiate that from the other iteration index numbers, whatever. So this part, so the next part is to like loop for each of the data ID that we have from this part. Like remember that this part we have put all the IDs into a collection. So then we're going to loop for each ID. So these are the IDs obtained from the website, right? So and we're going to remember each of the ID, and then for each ID we're going to again we're going to check in this trace product list, which is in this list. We're gonna check the ID here. So if the site matches, because sometimes different sites are gonna have the same ID. So the first is that we're gonna match that. So the data is from, for example, the model price. So this is the site, and also we're gonna match the data ID. So for example, for this product, the trace product ID is this, and we're going to match that in the data. Do we have a product ID like this or not? So if the two, both of them are matched, the site matches and the ID matches, then we're going to create a temporary object, and we're going to have 4 fields here. The first is the ID, and then the second is name, the third is link, and the fourth is price. So basically, these are from from these collections, each with the corresponding index number. So once we have that piece, we're gonna push that into the trace result list. So here we can see that actually we are not returning this trace result. So what we're doing is that we're going to input this trace result list, and we're going to push that inside. And because this the trace result list is from outside, which is actually in this function, so it is constantly updating. So finally, we're going to list out this trace result list.